awesome devices, but they're both going to appeal to two very different demographics. How's it going, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I'm here with the HTC One S and the Galaxy Note. You know the specs, but which one is the ultimate Android device? We're going to find out, but first, some love to Best Buy Mobile for hooking us up with phones like this for use in our one-paw bandit game. When you go into Best Buy Mobile, you won't deal with rebates, no paperwork, waiting 8 to 10 weeks. At Best Buy Mobile, you'll walk out that door and you'll pay the after rebate price. Let's take a look. HTC One S, Samsung Galaxy Note, which one's the must-have Android phone? So obviously two different versions of Android over here, two different skins. Let's take a look at some of those personal information management things on both devices. For example, the HTC One X over here, we'll take a look at contacts on both, and you can see the differences here. We'll load up John Rogers and then AT&T Pay My Bill. So you can obviously see some influence of Ice Cream Sandwich over here with the kind of landscape picture. You can see the icons up here, Google and menu. And I can scroll through and see Notes, apparently Big Papa over here. Apparently John Rogers is Big Papa. And then you have the thread, you have updates, you have gallery as well, and then you have your mobile, and of course I can text message from there. Same kind of setup over here. I can have the contact picture, the name, and I have the mobile number. I can either call or message easily from there, and then I have, of course, I can edit the contact, and it shows me the default ringtone with both. Now, one feature I really like about HTC Sense, and they've kind of made some revisions and changes to it with Sense 4, this thread feature where I can scroll over and see, well, when was the last time I emailed John Rogers? When was the last time I sent John a text? Or when was the last time I called John? I can easily see it all in one place. So if if John and I had plans tonight, I can go back and see the actual text message to know where to meet John. And then I can go over to updates as well, and I can see gallery where if there are any pictures that are tagged with John, I can easily access it. So those are a nice touch, and you have your call history over here, and then you have your phone right here. So the dial pad obviously looks a little bit different over here. So we can dial 611, for example, just so you can see. And that's what it looks like over here. Over on the Samsung Galaxy Note, you got your tabs up here at the top, logs, contacts, favorites, and groups. You got your numbers down here at the bottom, so we'll dial 611 here, for example, and you can just see the difference between the actual application on both. So AT&T Network ID, you've got your keypad, your menu button, and then keypad here, speaker, and of course your menu button is obviously a hard menu button on the Galaxy Note. So that's something to keep in mind. But again, you can really see here the screen real estate difference on both of these devices. Let's take a look at Quadrant Standard, our favorite speed tests. Quadrant Standard here, we'll load that up on both of these devices and get it ready to go. Do I not have Quadrant Standard pre-installed? Let's do that right now. Let's install Quadrant Standard so you can take a look. And let's load up Quadrant Standard. We'll do it live on camera. We're going to do a live download out of the Google Play Store here so you can get an idea, if you're new to Google Play, what the actual store looks like. You've got your screenshots, what's new, your description, your star reviews, or star ratings rather, your reviews, and then more. So I can install that. And I will say AT&T's HSPA Plus has done pretty impressive, or had impressive performance in the HTC One S. You can see it's downloading relatively quickly. We'll get this loaded up and ready to go so you can see the speed difference because, again, new version of Qualcomm's Snapdragon processor over here. You got the S4 and the S3 over here. And I'll tell you, there's a noticeable difference between the speeds in the S4 versus the S3. So we'll load these up right now, run the benchmark, and then we'll talk about call quality. Call quality's been good on both, but then keep in mind, this is obviously intended as more of a messaging, an email, a video watching, a web browsing device. This thing is a little bit uncomfortable. And you know, it's funny because most of the people that I've talked to that own the Galaxy Note will admit this as well. It's a little bit uncomfortable to hold up to the ear. It's kind of a media device first and a phone device second. So if you're making a lot of phone calls, take a look at this in the AT&T store. See the size. It may be perfect for you. It may be a little bit too big for you, maybe way too big for you. But I will say the earpiece is nice and loud. AT&T's 4G LTE network speeds have been reasonably fast in the Charlotte metro area and in all the areas I've been to recently. No real problems there. And then the battery life is surprisingly decent. So bigger display over here, but they packed a big 2,500 milliamp hour battery in here. And I will say it makes it without, unless I'm doing a really heavy use day, it makes it all the way through the day without requiring a recharge. Now over here, smaller display, 1,650 milliamp hour battery, and it has killer standby times, but when you're using it, it does die somewhat quickly. I can make it about 11, 12 hours with this device before it dies. But that said, call quality is really good over here. Took both of these to AT&T dead spots and had no issues maintaining the call, though they were just ever so slightly choppy in the area I was at in South Charlotte. But pretty impressive on both fronts. Call quality is nice, but I will say this one obviously feels a little bit more like a phone. So if calling is your thing, this one may be a little bit easier to hold in the hand on a regular basis. So 5,104 over here on the T-Mobile One S, actually with the AT&T SIM card. So 5,104, really impressive on the One S with the S4 processor. Let's take a look at the Galaxy Note as well and see what the S3 brings in. and we'll take a look at it. Obviously, like I said, ice cream sandwich plays a role. The new processor plays a role in this. And then over here, hopefully when the ice cream sandwich rolls out, we'll get some speeds that are just a little bit faster on the Galaxy Note. Obviously, this is not always indicative of day-to-day performance, so keep this in mind. This is just a fun speed test that we do. 1,925 on the Galaxy Note, 1,925, 5,104. So obviously a big difference in terms of quadrant standard, but again, be sure to take that with a grain of salt. So application speed test over here. We'll load this up and take a look at speed test on both devices. Let's see, shall we? So AT&T's LTE over here, AT&T's HSPA Plus over here, and we'll take a look at the speed differences. Now in the Charlotte metro area, LTE is reasonably fast, but it's not that much faster than HSPA Plus when HSPA Plus is having a good day. For example, take a look at this. This is HSPA Plus at 7 megabits per second. This is LTE at 6.3 megabits per second. So that's something to keep in mind. And like I said, if you're tuning into this for the first time, I have an AT&T SIM card that I'm running in here, so that's something to keep in mind. So 7 megabits per second over here, 7.09, 7.28 over on the Note. So the Note pulled it out just by a little bit, but you can really see the speed differences. Like I said, HSPA Plus here, and then you have LTE over here. 7.09, 7.28, upload here. This is where I kind of lose it. Upload speed on HSPA Plus, 1.67 megabits per second, whereas it's 5.06 over here on LTE. So both of these are killer devices, but before we jump off, let's take a look at the camera here. 8 megapixel cameras on both, and they both shoot video at 1080p, but one thing I really like, and I've talked about this in a lot of the One X stuff, the burst mode. So this is one of my favorite features. We're going to record, for example, record a video, and we'll review this. We'll review this little camera charger here, and let's say halfway through, I want to take some pictures of this camera charger while I'm recording the video. I can easily stop the video right there, or we'll do the video here, we'll record, and I can take the pictures as I'm recording. So I stop the recording, and obviously I have the recording stored along with the still images that I took, and also there's a great feature called burst mode on the One S that I'm really impressed with. So if your friend or your family member, your sister, your wife, whoever has a soccer game or a basketball game, whatever the case may be, you can easily take pictures really quickly. Then over here you've got a big display. So obviously the display is a selling point over here, but you got your buttons over here to switch back and forth between the two cameras. You got your flash on and off button and your video to a camera button, and then of course I can press and hold to focus in, and it takes a great picture. Take a look at this, and you'll see the quality here. You can see the edges or the hard edges around this. Really impressive there. So it's a hard decision here because both of these are pretty decent 8 megapixel cameras. I give the slight edge to the One S just because of the features the camera has in comparison to this one. And obviously this is kind of like borderline tablets. It's kind of like holding up a big phone or a tablet, and that's something that may not appeal to a lot of people, but still, burst mode, fantastic over here. Really impressed with that feature. So it's a dogfight. One has to be declared a winner, but like these dogfights recently, I really have to say, it's all about what you want. If you're looking for, an ultimate web browsing machine, you do a lot of texting. You don't really do a whole lot of phone calls, but you do a lot of, browsing the web. You do a lot of music videos. You do a lot of internet, whatever, anything, watching YouTube videos. The Note's going to be an awesome device for you, and it's available at AT&T. Now, this one's available at T-Mobile. Like I said, I have an AT&T SIM card in it just because I was having some fun with it, decided to unlock it, and it's performed pretty impressively. This one's a little bit more like a phone, but the trade-off is obviously a smaller display. That said, the winner of the dogfight is the HTC One S for a couple of reasons. That's a speed demon. The S4 processor performs incredibly well, dual-core processor at that. It's got a great camera. The build quality is absolutely fantastic on this device. I mean, take a look at this. It's really impressive. And so if you're coming from something like perhaps a high-end BlackBerry or an iPhone 4 or 4S, you want to go into the Android world, I think this is a nice catalyst to get a lot of people into Android. Whereas this is more for that person that's been in Android or perhaps is wanting a particular product with an S Pen, where you can come down here. And this is a cool feature where you can press and hold, for example, take a screenshot. I'll show you. This is a neat feature. Let's see if I can get it to work on camera. Come on. It's my fault. Let's do this. I like how I tried to integrate that into my closing speech and it really didn't work out. Anyway, you can see here, capture the screen by using the included S Pen, and you can draw on it. So this, my 30-day challenge, if you watched it, you saw that I used this more and more as time went on because I can easily find stuff that I like and don't like. I can send this over to somebody and say, fix all of this, and send it back to me. I can circle stuff. I can say, hey, I can say things like that. I can text it to a friend and say, be safe, for example, and send them a picture, whatever, if they're traveling, and then hit save and send it along. So I really found a lot of use for this towards the end of the challenge if you watch my 30-day videos, because I would send emails or I'd send pictures, and it gives it a great personalization touch, and obviously that's what Samsung's going for here with the Galaxy Note. But in terms of just speed, if speed's your thing, the One S is going to be an awesome device. I want to hear from you though. Let me know which one you like the most on Twitter at phonedog_Aaron and on Facebook at facebook.com/phonedogab. We'll have a bunch of more dogfights coming in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for those. Hit us up on Google+, gplus.to/phonedog. Hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/phonedog. Hit us up on the site, phonedog.com. And cast your vote in the PhoneDog official smartphone rankings at phonedog.com/rankings. Thanks for watching. Much more to come on both of these awesome devices on phonedog.com. We'll see you next time.